Water is probably the single most important issue for Colorado. And working on the Poudre River was one of the delightful things I got to do when I was both in the House and the Senate. The Cache la Poudre starts in the mountains just west and a bit north of Fort Collins. It drains through Fort Collins and flows then on to Greeley. The water in the Poudre River goes to irrigate and provide fishing, water for wildlife. It's then diverted and used by the city of Fort Collins for municipal purposes. That water goes back into the river after it's cleaned up, and that water is used to irrigate our crops. The return flow meets our needs downstream, so the water may be used 4 or 5 times before it leaves the state. 2/3 of Colorado's water flow comes all at once in 3 months in the spring. In the winter, there's a 3-month period where most of our rivers simply dry up and there's no flow at all. And so what water storage did is make water available year-round. The challenge is getting people to understand water. It's an environmental plus to have water storage. It's why this project's so essential. Without it, we'll see a great deal of the farms in northern Colorado dry up, and they'll lose that green and not only the value of the farm products that are produced, but the tremendous plus in the way of purifying our air. We met for a number of years with water users, farmers, agriculture in northern Colorado, along with all the environmental groups. And through extended negotiations, we finally reached an agreement. And that agreement had Northern Colorado Water Conservancy District give up a number of ideal sites they had filed on along the Poudre River in return for an agreement to go forward with the designation of a wild and scenic river that left permanent sites available for northern Colorado to build water storage on. The Poudre River was the first and at this point is still the only designation of a wild and scenic river. I particularly love the idea because it gives us a way to acquire the floodplain along the Poudre River and provide a permanent recreation area as well as preserving the natural look of Colorado for future generations. Fort Collins and Greeley and Windsor have all moved ahead to enhance an area downstream, and that's what we call a water heritage area. We had a potential for a win-win. It was a potential win, obviously, for environmental interest because of the setting aside of the river and the banks and the open space that it involved. It was a possible setting aside for water users as well. Some of the environmental groups who had signed on to the agreement backed out of it when Northern Water went forward with their request for permits. And that process, seeking a permit, has gone on now for 4 more decades. Eventually, Northern Water agreed not to build a dam in the river itself or in the confines of the river, but to build it offstream. What it does is siphon off waters that come in the spring, using those waters later in the year when the water's needed for agriculture and for municipal use as well. There was always some rivalry between Greeley and Fort Collins, but the two cities have worked together, and you have an active group now that helps manage the Poudre River. It's taken an area of potential conflict and made it an area of outstanding cooperation. Water storage has changed Colorado for the better. We're a much more beautiful state and a much stronger environment. And I know Northern Water Conservancy District will continue that heritage for us.